Hi, welcome to my channel, Moyna Bass Fishes, and guess what? I am Jim Moyna. So, this is the recap of the 2022 MLF Tacklewarehouse Pro Circuit tournament on Pickwick Lake, where I finished 21st. I was as high as 12th place on the second day. Just the third day I went out and, caught it kind of an average limit and dropped those 9 spots, unfortunately, but no regrets. I feel like I didn't make any stupid blundering mistakes. I didn't lose key fish, so I pulled off what I pulled off, and that's the way it is. So to kind of recap how I caught them, I had 2 patterns going. One pattern was fishing docks and sight fishing, so I guess so maybe I had 3 patterns, so that's 2. And then the third pattern would have been fishing wood, just that's out a little deeper, anywhere from like 6 to 12 feet. That wood I found using the side scanning feature on my Lowrance HGS live unit. The baits, I would say with the, I really only caught 3 sight fish, so it wasn't like that was a huge pattern. But one of my good ones the first day was the first fish I went to. Nobody went there ahead of me, even though I had a mid-flight number, or a mid-pack kind of a number. I got there and caught that fish. It was, a little under 3 pounds. It was a decent one. Anyways, I probably caught like 15 keepers the first day, 15 the second day, and then the third day I fell off. I caught like 8 keepers. And what I did do something slightly different the third day. I felt like my chances of getting a bigger fish were out on that deeper isolated wood, but that proved to be wrong. But on the second day I had a nice kicker off of that stuff. It was like a 5-pounder, so I kind of went all in with that concept, and just didn't get it. It just didn't happen for me. If I was to make the 4th day, I'd probably go all in on the shallow dock pattern. So that's just kind of what my thoughts. The one thought I have different now, but I don't know. It was all right. It's a lot of guys were struggling to get their, just get 5 fish in this tournament, and I wasn't really having that struggle. I seemed like I was on enough fish where I was catching them and doing all right with numbers wise. So let's just now's the time where we open up the rod locker and just take out some rods here and show you what. Oh, I almost forgot. Before we get to the lures here, this tournament was dedicated to my dad, who passed away March 31st, and I've been including stories about him, with each video leading up to this, all week during this tournament. So today's story is just kind of funny. Just I don't know. There's so many stories I could share, but this one, I guess rather than get into the story, well, let me just get into this. Just one little quick story. It was funny. It was my dad, my cousin Carol Jacobson, and myself were fishing out on Lake Washburn where my dad lived, and my Carol maybe fishes once a year with me, so it's really a big deal for her just to get out in a boat and enjoy the outdoors, and catching a fish is like super exciting and fun. So anyways, we're on Lake Washburn, and we're fishing my dad's absolute favorite spot for his lifetime. And in his mind, it's his spot, it's his secret spot. Even though the lake is about like 1,800 acres, I mean, it's his secret spot that nobody knows about. And so we're fishing there, and it's kind of a just kind of an off day as far as weather, so there's not many people out and around, and so we're fishing the spot. And my cousin Carol, she's using a floating frog, and we're actually it's always been a largemouth spot, even though there's smallmouth in the lake, a few smallmouth in the lake. Well, this big smallmouth, and the smallmouths are relatively new to this lake, so this was probably about 5 or 6 years ago, and she catches this, what at the time was the biggest smallmouth I'd ever seen out of the lake. It was like a 3.5 pounder. I mean, there were bigger ones. I just wasn't fishing up there much at that time, and she catches this big smallmouth, and she starts whooping and hollering and cheering, you know, she doesn't even know who Mike Iaconelli was, but you would swear she was, rehearsed this according to Mike Iaconelli, but doing all, just so excited to catch this 3.5 pound smallmouth. And my dad is he couldn't take it anymore, because he was on his secret spot, and now every person, you know, it was a flat, calm day. If you know how sound travels across a lake when it's calm, I'm sure every lake owner on that part of the lake heard what was going on. and my dad couldn't handle it anymore. He finally said, "Hey, you got to keep it down. You got to keep it down. We don't want to give away the spot." and he, of course, my cousin was like, you know, she was like, "Oh, you know, I didn't realize that," and so she silenced up quick, but I mean, he's always was protective of the places he fished, and that was one thing he always preached to me: don't reveal, don't tell everybody how you're catching them, and because to him it was always, you wanted to hold on to those things that gave you that edge, that gave you the you know, that one little something that maybe other people don't know, to put more fish in your boat. So thankfully he shared everything he knew with me, so that's good. But anyways, that's that story. Now, and you know, last thing, just Dad, I miss you. He was 84 years old. He'd been dealing with some health issues for a few years, and miss you, and thanks for everything you did. Anyway, okay, now the rods. All right, let's okay, I tied this. I had a 1/2 ounce chatterbait tied on. This was a 3/4. I never caught a fish on a chatterbait, and that's only because I didn't fish it that much. It wasn't my primary deal. But that was it. Okay, now here was it. Let me get this one out and this one. So I had 2 rods rigged up with all-terrain tackle football jigs. There they are. You see, one's a dark, kind of blackish color, and the other one's more of a brown color. They're both 1/2 ounce. And with these, this was the bait I was using on the wood that I was finding on my Lowrance HGS Live 12-inch screen, Lowrance side scan, blah blah blah. And you see, I got them, each of them with a twin tail trailer. Both of these colored trailers are discontinued by Yamamoto, which Yamamoto's gone and discontinued a lot of colors and baits in recent years. I'm not happy about it. So that was that. Here's an awesome rig that I never I don't think I caught a fish. No, I don't think I weighed a fish on that. But that was the Texoma, I caught 2 on Texoma there a week ago. This little Hummer, this got me some keepers, but they always ended up getting called out. That's a Smalley Smasher jig head with a little swim bait on there. It wasn't getting big keepers, just small keepers that got called. I don't know what the deal with this was, but I threw this on a lot of wood in practice. This drop shot, here's the sinker. So that's, I don't know, what is that? 3/8, no, it's probably, I don't know, 1/4 or 3/8. And that is the Yamamoto shad-shaped worm. Never caught a darn thing on that. And I threw that way too much not to catch something on it. I figured that would be a good one if I got it around like a nesting smallmouth. I figured that would be a sure hookup. Never caught a darn thing on that. I mean, but why do I have it tied on? Because I have had luck with that in the past. Not here, but other lakes. Oh, what else? Just show you a few other things here. There's a couple, I never tied these up and never used these until the last day. So I thought, if I was getting them on that smaller swim bait, maybe if I put a heavier swim bait on, a little bigger, maybe that would change things for them. Never had a bite on them. But then again, the football jig was like my primary bait. What if I saw on my forward-looking on my active target Lowrance thing? If I saw a fish around a stump down there, I'd throw these multiple presentations to see if that fish was indeed going to bite. Most of the time, it was the first 1 or 2 casts into one of these pieces of wood with the football jig. If I didn't get one after the first or second cast, it was like a 95% chance I was not going to get a fish. Period. So that's something to think about. All right, next, top water. I never really got the top water going much. This is the old boy howdy, where sometimes that works good. Didn't use it much. This is a shaky head. Didn't use that much. Here's a player. This was a player. This is like a little ringworm, and with the lead inserted into the, it's a Nico rig, and that was so I was either using I also excuse I was also using the football head around docks, but I was probably using that Nico rig more around the docks, and I caught one of my bedding fish on that. I caught I guess I did catch the first 2 keepers of the tournament. I caught on this, that one bedding fish I mentioned, and then another fish on that. So sorry to diss you there, Nico rig Senko. So okay, yeah, back to this. So I'd throw this around the dock poles and that, and caught some fish that weighed with that in the first 2 days. So what else? Let's bring this. Here's something that worked in practice that failed in the tournament. That'd be this jerk bait. I kind of gave up. I never even threw it the last day. Threw it some the first day, some the second day, and never had a bite on it. So I just gave up on it. But it worked. It worked really good in practice early in the day. And this is just something to notice. When you get around the spawn and you have a cold front come through and it gets really cold overnight, then oftentimes those moving baits are key right away in the morning. And that's what happened. We had some cold nights, and that the very first morning of the second day of practice, I took that jerkbait and they were just smashing it. I mean, it literally was so easy to catch fish on it. But then after it heated up during the day, they just completely shut down on it, completely. And then, seriously, then the tournament then the weather turned into warm nights, even hot days, and that jerkbait bite was just gone, disappeared for me. But I've seen that kind of thing before with moving baits and this time of the season. All right, next. Oh, here's a bait I did a whole video on once. Okay, this is that's the Depths Buzz Jet, and that video I talked about this bait, and once again it lived up to its reputation as reported in that video. All right, what else? All right, that's, there's other rods in here, but they're of insignificance for this report anyways. So I don't know, anything else that no, I don't think I can think of anything else. So now I'm done here at Pickwick, and I'm going to head to Lake Sam Rayburn for my next one in a week and a half. Over.